bought the brand new Xbox Series X All Digital Edition, the latest and greatest console from Microsoft that is cheaper and also has a new design. And in today's video, we are going to unbox it, share my first impressions, and see if it's actually worth buying. Now, I'm super excited to be making this video today, but also really frustrated. I had pre-ordered both of the Xboxes, both the new all-white digital edition and the Galaxy Black edition that's got the limited edition stuff and the increase in storage. But for some random reason, Xbox decided not to ship it. They were like, oh, we're going to send it next week, mate. So you can have your white console today, but the super expensive limited edition one that everyone wants to see, we'll send that next week. No idea why that happened. I pre-ordered both of them at the exact same time, paid for them all at the exact same time, and was under the assumption that they were all going to come on launch day. But they let me down, and it hurts. It really does. Xbox has never let me down. Well, maybe a little bit. So what we've got right here is the brand new all-digital Xbox Series X. Now, this is $50 cheaper than the original Xbox Series X. It's the exact same console. All it does is remove the disk drive. Now, we'll talk about that in just a moment as to whether it's worth purchasing for those factors and what I kind of think of that. But first up, the box is a lot smaller. And I said a lot there for no reason. I may have just said it once. It's very small. They've definitely changed the design of the packaging. I think it looks a little bit better. On the Series X, they had like Master Chief and stuff and different games on the back. I don't like it when they do that. It sort of dates a product box because obviously once those games come out, you're like, oh, Forza Horizon 6 is out now. So you've got Forza Horizon 5 on the box. It looks a little bit terrible. Obviously that game isn't out right now, but I'm just figuratively showing an example. So let's open this bad boy up and see the console itself. Now, personally, I think it looks pretty sweet. I like the look of this console. All of the leaks that I'd seen online, I loved it. I thought, I can't wait to get my hands on this. I actually think it looks better than the normal Xbox Series X. And there's something about the removal of the disk drive that actually makes the cubic design of the console look a little bit better because it's got a bit of symmetry, I guess, to an extent, because it hasn't got that random line down the middle of it for the disk drive. Actually, I think they've improved the unboxing experience from the Series X because that had that like recycling cardboard in there, egg carton packaging, as you would call it, and that's just not that luxury, is it? I'll just slide that straight off, mate. That looks class. I think that looks awesome. I'm loving it. 10 out of 10 IGN, definitely. Everything about the console is the same. Connection ports at the back all remain the same. HDMI out, a Seagate expansion card here, Ethernet 2 standard USB connections and your power cord. But the biggest change is obviously right here at the front. We haven't got the massive disc tray element right here. Also, looking at the top and the fan grille, they've cheaped out a little bit here and they've just done it as one single color. On the Xbox Series X, this was black with green paint on the fan grille, whereas this is just all white, so they've definitely done a little cost saving there. And of course, obviously on their special edition, Halo Infinite edition, this was black with blue on there, so it's in the little fan grills. That's just all solid white. I still don't know why they couldn't just put green on there, but they definitely like to save money. It was to look good. It looks better all white. Yeah, profit margins are higher, mate, aren't they? Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. You see that? PlayStation on the box. 4K 120. Don't need to buy a $700 PS5 Pro to get that with your Microsoft console. Name me a game in the comments that does support 4K 120 though. But my point still stands. Right, so here we've got all of the accessories. Pretty standard stuff. You have white Xbox controller, standard Xbox controller in Robot White, the exact same one that you got with the Xbox Series S. I personally prefer this controller compared to the Carbon Black controller. I just think it looks a little bit more Xbox. Xbox 360 had a white controller. It just gives me more vibes. Also got the power cord right here. Don't really need to show you that. It's pretty boring stuff. Oh, let me show you the cables like you've never seen a HDMI cord before. Now, although technically this Xbox Series X is exactly the same as the original Xbox Series X from 4 years ago, just without a disk drive, there are some changes internally that have been discovered by Austin Evans, which is another tech YouTuber. Literally, during me filming this video, he's went and released a YouTube video where he's actually tucked this apart. Now, I've not had time to do that yet because it's literally just arrived in the post and I've only just unboxed it. But in his video, he showed how the motherboard has had some changes and also been simplified, which has also helped reduce the cost of producing these units. And also some interesting discoveries surrounding the CPU and GPU area of the motherboards and the coolers and so much more. But I'll break all of that stuff down when I do my own review video and I have a chance to take this apart, the new Galaxy Series X and also the old one apart. Just don't have all the consoles here right now. But probably the biggest discussion point is the price of this new Xbox Series X. It's meant to be $50 cheaper than a regular one with a disc drive. Now, if you're a Sony fan or a Sony customer, you'll be aware that if you want a disc drive, it's about $80 to $100 as an add-on. So $50 ain't too bad. A bit of a deal there, mate. But I've got to be honest, I have not bought a single disc for my Xbox Series X at all. I prefer to buy them all digitally because I have an S as well. So it means I can access both games on both consoles because the S doesn't have a disc drive. And also you can't use features like quick resume because you have to literally put the disc in, take it out and put it in. It doesn't really, it defeats the purpose of resuming quickly when you got to get out your chair and put a disc in. So I bought everything digitally and mostly predominantly played titles on Xbox Game Pass within my subscription. So for me personally, losing the disc drive isn't a big deal, but surrounding that price point, I don't think it's cheap enough to justify it for some gamers. I think it needs to be $100, roughly the difference. So it is a little bit of a step up from the Xbox Series S, but it's still a big saving where the Series X is out of reach. Because crazily enough, I was literally just looking on Amazon, and you can pick up an Xbox Series X with a disc drive cheaper than the new one without a disc drive. I'm not even kidding. And that's because obviously there's excess stock of the old one that they're probably trying to shift off in clearances while they're bringing these new units and so on. But that's just crazy. This is meant to be cheaper. So if it had that $100 buffer point, this would have been a situation that wouldn't have occurred. It's just that $50 is so tiny in terms of a price So obviously this time last year, we got the brand new Xbox. That was an absolute fail. So obviously this time last year, we got the brand new Xbox Series S Carbon Black Edition. Now this is one of my Mate, stop falling over! Which boosted the internal storage up to 1 terabyte from 512 gigabyte. Now, this is probably one of my favorite Xboxes to release. I think aesthetically it looks amazing, and the value for money that you get here is perfect. Because you've got to remember, a lot of people purchase these next-gen consoles. They don't even have a 4K telly, so they don't need the 4K capabilities of these more expensive ones like the PS5, PS5 Pro, and of course the Series X. A lot of gamers, around 75%, I think, of the console sales this generation from Xbox have been for the Series S, because 1440p is more than adequate for most people, or just even 1080p is still sufficient. So I think this is perfect because it's kept gaming fresh with fast loading times, next-gen features like quick resume, but obviously at a much more accessible price point. Now, the whole purpose of this new Xbox is to reduce the price to make it more accessible, but I don't think it's cheap enough. It's only $50 cheaper than a regular Xbox Series X, and it's a difficult sell. Like, if it was $100 cheaper, perfect. But the issue is the internal storage hasn't been upgraded, so it still only has 1 terabyte of internal storage. I don't think that's enough for 4K games. Obviously, when you download games on the Series S, you're downloading lower resolution versions of those games to begin with because it's the 1440p maximum or whatever. Considering that factor, I just feel like the Xbox Series X needed a 2 terabyte all digital edition, a bit like the Galaxy Black one does. I'll continue testing these products over the next couple of weeks, and I'll do my full review and verdict as to whether you should get a digital Xbox Series X or a regular one. But let's think about the future of Xbox briefly for a moment here. Going into December, there are some very strong games launching on Xbox. One that comes to mind is the Indiana Jones. I'm so excited for this title. I think it looks fantastic, both graphically and also the gameplay mechanics look super interesting. I've already done an entire video breaking down whether you should buy an Xbox in 2024, but I did recently also update this with should you buy a PS5 in 2024, and you should check out either of those videos next if you're struggling to decide which platform is perfect for you.